bring up emotions, feelings? How do you look at them?
I mean, the first time is definitely exciting. Now it's, it's fun, and then sometimes not, because it's like, I want the best for my bro, but also want the best for the team. So obviously tonight, gotta put my feelings for him away and help the team win tonight. But I mean, it's nice that I get to see him, but it's tough because it's like you want to win, you want to do all the things you can, and he's on the other side. It kind of makes it a little weird. But
yeah.
It is what it is.
You guys have a pretty good record against Dallas. Do you ever let him know?
No, I don't. No, I don't. He knows. I just keep it at that.
That's good. Must feel good to be able to take part in this game. Just given you came back in, but before that you weren't playing.
Yeah.
So you probably thought maybe that it might not happen or whatever.
Yeah.
Like how to feel to just get that line clicking and feel good about you.
Yeah, it was great. I think last game was great. I think it was the best game of the season for myself, and for both my linemen to get on the board and we all touch the puck together. It was really nice, and we just got to keep that mentality. We got to keep going as a team and as a line to stick to our strengths. And again, like you said, playing today, obviously, I want to earn every game. I want to play every game. So that's my goal, and I want to do everything necessary to do so.
Why do you think that combo of you three did work so well against Buffalo?
I just think we have a lot of speed. I mean, I know those guys well. They know me well. Everyone, we can all shoot. We can all move our feet and play fast. I think we stick to keeping our game simple, but also, with our speed and letting Domes do his thing, and me and Bob just shooting the puck and keeping it simple. I think it just works well.
Talking to Jason just a few minutes ago, he was saying that him going through an injury gave him a greater appreciation of the injuries that you've had to battle through and the rehabs. How much have you guys talked about that? Did you relate your injury stories to him as he went through it this summer?
He's a fighter too. He knows. Thankfully it was in the summer for him. It wasn't during the season, but it's definitely a nice comment that he appreciates that. But you just try to keep him positive and everything. It's kind of different in the summer. You're like, okay, I know you're gonna get back. In the season, it's a little different, but he bounced back right from that, and it was unfortunate he had to deal with that in the summer. But he's feeling good now.
How was the Anthony Stolarz news received in this room? What kind of response do you think?
What was the news?
4 to 6 weeks.
Oh,
get surgery.
sorry, I don't think so. I didn't even know.
That's right.
Yeah, it's tough to see that. He's a great goalie, and stuff happens like that. It's sometimes out of your control, and it sucks to hear that. But also we got Dennis here too. That we're all confident in him too. He's playing well in the Marlies, and he's played well here while he's been here. So we're confident in him.
Gives you confidence that Joseph can take the ball and run with it for a long stretch here.
The confidence is based on what he's been. He's always been a really, composed, a really poised goaltender, and we just go on off that. He's a really good goalie, so confident.
The threat they pose.
Yeah, well, they got some real good skill over there and good players, obviously, but they've been a good team for quite some time now. This is going back, years. Like they've had this core here, and they play a good brand of hockey. They don't give up a whole lot defensively. They got some. They play a fast game. Special teams are good. It's a hard team. It's a good team.
How well do you know Pete DeBoer?
Pete, how long?
Yeah, how
well,
long?
For quite some time now. I remember Pete. Probably met him when he first was coaching Jersey, and I was a coach in Philly. And just got to know him over the years, and he's a great coach, and he's done really well everywhere he's gone.
Is there a certain signature that a Pete team always has in your experience, whether it's here or somewhere else you've gone against him?
Yeah, for sure. I think his teams, really all play the same way. Since I remember in Jersey, so when he got there, they started that swarm defense, and as neutral zone was different back then. It was a 1-1-3 more than it is now. It's a 1-2-2 now. But that swarm defense, both D and a forward in there outnumbering you right away. It's been a signature for a long time with him. And his teams all play fast. They move the puck quick, and they play North hockey.
Leafs facing center crisis amid injuries, eyeing trade market for solutions. As the Toronto Maple Leafs battle through a growing injury list and a suspension, their lack of depth at the center position has become a glaring issue. According to Sportsnet's Elliotte Friedman in his latest 32 Thoughts article, the Leafs are among the teams exploring trade options to bolster their lineup. This effort is coming amid increasing competition from teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and Nashville Predators, who have also set their sights on improving their center depth. Friedman didn't mince words about the Leafs' predicament. The teams currently focusing on centers, including Chicago and Nashville, must consider when others will enter the market. Toronto will undoubtedly be one of those teams, he wrote. While the Blackhawks and Predators may have an edge in terms of cap space and assets, the Leafs remain a team to watch as the season progresses. The Leafs situation is urgent, with up to 7 forwards currently unavailable due to injury or suspension. Ryan Reeves is serving a 5-game suspension, while key players like Austin Matthews, upper body, Matthew Knies, upper body, Kaye Jarnkrok, groin/sports hernia, David Kampf, lower body, Max Domi, lower body, and Max Pacioretty, lower body, are all sidelined. The team has even considered temporarily shifting Mitch Marner to the center position, highlighting the severity of their depth issues. This isn't just a short-term concern for the Leafs. Depth at center has been a persistent challenge for the team, and while stopgap solutions like Marner could help in the interim, the front office appears keen to explore longer-term fixes. For fans of the blue and white, this has been a recurring theme. The Leafs' center depth often becomes a problem at the worst possible times. James Myrtle of The Athletic recently added more fuel to the speculation, naming several potential trade targets who could help the Leafs address their issues. Among them is Ryan O'Reilly, a familiar name for Toronto fans. O'Reilly, who signed a 4-year, $18 million deal with Nashville in 2023, might be a trade candidate if the Predators' underwhelming start to the season, 6-11-3, 31st in the league, prompts a rebuild. However, his steep price tag and history with the Leafs, including rejecting a free agency offer less than 2 years ago, make this a complex and potentially unlikely move. Other names mentioned by Myrtle include former Leaf Nazem Kadri, currently with Calgary, as well as players like Michael Granlund, Nick Jugstad, Brock Nelson, Yanni Gourde, Trent Frederick, Radek Faksa, and Sean Kuraly. While some of these options seem more plausible than others, it's clear that general manager Brad Treliving will need to get creative to find the right piece without mortgaging the team's future. Cap space remains one of the biggest obstacles for the Leafs. Unlike teams like Chicago and Nashville, which have more flexibility and assets, Toronto is walking a financial tightrope. As Friedman noted, competition will intensify as cap-constrained teams strive to create room. For the Leafs, that could mean waiting for the market to develop further, a risky move given their current needs. The situation also highlights the Leafs' ongoing struggle to build a roster that can withstand the grueling nature of an NHL season. Injuries are an inevitability in hockey, but Toronto's current predicament underscores the importance of depth, a quality the team has struggled to consistently maintain. Looking back on recent years, the Leafs have often leaned heavily on their star players, particularly Matthews, Marner, and William Nylander. While these players have delivered in spades, the lack of reliable depth options has left the team vulnerable in critical moments. The current crisis at center is merely the latest example of this recurring issue. Some fans have called for more aggressive moves from Treliving, arguing that now is the time to strike while the team's core is in its prime. Others, however, are more cautious, pointing to the dangers of overpaying for short-term fixes. Striking the right balance will be key, especially as the Leafs aim to keep their championship window open. Despite the challenges, there's no denying that Toronto has the talent to be a contender, provided they can patch up their lineup. The ongoing rumors and speculation surrounding potential trades show that the Leafs are at least exploring every avenue to strengthen their roster. For fans of the blue and white, this moment feels like a pivotal point in the season. With a lineup ravaged by injuries and a tough schedule ahead, the Leafs must act decisively to avoid falling behind in the standings. The addition of a dependable center could be the difference between weathering the storm or watching another season slip away. Whether it's O'Reilly, Kadri, or another surprise name, one thing is certain: the Leafs are under pressure to deliver. And for a fan base as passionate and loyal as Toronto's, there's no room for excuses. The time to act is now, and Leafs Nation is watching closely. As the trade deadline approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will Treliving pull off a move that solidifies the Leafs' status as a contender, or will the search for center depth become yet another chapter in the team's long history of what-ifs? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure: it's never boring in Leafs land. As the Maple Leafs navigate this critical juncture, their fan base remains as vocal as ever. Toronto is a city that breathes hockey, and the pressure on Brad Treliving to make the right moves is immense. Every decision he makes, or doesn't make, will be scrutinized, from talk radio to social media, where Leafs Nation is already debating the merits of the various names being floated as potential trade targets. Among the louder debates is whether the team should prioritize a high-profile acquisition like Ryan O'Reilly or Nazem Kadri, or focus on a lower-cost, reliable center who can fill a supporting role without costing too many future assets. While O'Reilly's leadership and playoff experience make him an attractive option, his contract and recent history with the Leafs add layers of complexity to any potential reunion. Similarly, Kadri's gritty, two-way playstyle remains a fan favorite, but his cap hit and availability might render him an unrealistic target. Another factor complicating the Leafs situation is their tight salary cap. While Chicago and Nashville can make moves with relative ease due to their financial flexibility, Toronto must navigate a labyrinth of constraints to make any trade work. This likely means including salary retention or moving existing contracts to make room, which could drive up the cost of any potential deal. The question then becomes, how much are the Leafs willing to sacrifice to address their immediate needs? One potential trade partner generating buzz is the Seattle Kraken. Yanni Gourde, a dependable two-way center, has been mentioned as a possible target. Gourde's versatility and championship pedigree from his time with Tampa Bay make him an appealing option. Seattle, however, is in playoff contention and may not be inclined to part with a key piece unless the Leafs can provide a substantial return. Another intriguing name is Brock Nelson of the New York Islanders. Nelson is a consistent scorer and reliable faceoff-man, qualities that would undoubtedly bolster Toronto's center depth. However, the Islanders are notoriously cautious when it comes to trades, and prying Nelson away would likely require a significant package, including picks or prospects that the Leafs may be hesitant to part with. For all the trade talk, some analysts believe the solution might come from within. Sheldon Keefe has shown a willingness to experiment with his lineup, and players like Pontus Holmberg or Fraser Minten could be given an opportunity to step up. While relying on less experienced players carries risks, it might be the Leafs' only option if the trade market proves too costly or slow to develop. Adding to the Leafs' urgency is the timing. The Atlantic Division remains one of the toughest in the league, with teams like Boston, Florida, and Tampa Bay continuing to dominate. Any prolonged slump could see Toronto slip further down the standings, putting their playoff hopes in jeopardy. For a team with Stanley Cup aspirations, failing to address their weaknesses could have catastrophic consequences. Brad Treliving's history as a general manager suggests he's not afraid to make bold moves. His time with the Calgary Flames was marked by blockbuster trades, including the acquisition of Jonathan Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar in the Matthew Tkachuk deal. Leafs fans hope he brings that same decisiveness to Toronto, especially as the trade deadline looms. Beyond the immediate need for a center, this situation underscores a broader issue with the Leafs roster construction. Depth has been a perennial concern, and while Toronto boasts some of the league's top-end talent, their reliance on a handful of stars has left them vulnerable in moments like this. Moving forward, addressing this imbalance must be a priority for the front office if the team is to achieve sustained success. As the Leafs head into a critical stretch of the season, the next few weeks could define their trajectory.